Welcome everybody to another episode of Section 305. I'm Raul Pagan with Corlia Sabler. We got Nick Dupont and Matthew McNamara. What's up, guys? How's everything?
Everything's good, Raul. How's it going?
Oh, good. Thanks to God. My parents are visiting from Puerto Rico, so I'm going to be spending the weekend with them, watching tonight at the Metropole Restaurant, which you guys, if you got time, you guys should slide in. Let's also at the same time make, promotion towards it. It's the best restaurant in the whole Dolphin Mall, Puerto Rican and Cuban cuisine. They're going to have the game there. Also tomorrow, and also the Yankees and Mets are playing tonight. Yeah. First round of the 3-day series is going to be a good one. Juan Soto returns to the Bronx, so it's going to be, just like he said, 50,000 against him tonight. But yeah, I'm going to be spending it with my family this weekend, watching the games. A lot of things that we're going to be covering for next week. And we got a lot of things to also talk about, like from the past. Since the WNBA begins tonight, we should also going to be talking about the WNBA draft and the expectations of this season with the Indiana Fever. They actually look like a sleeper team. The Chicago Sky got better. They still don't convince me. And then you got the Liberty that are trying to repeat. The Aces. They lost Kelsey Plum. And now she joins Cameron Brings in the Los Angeles Sparks. So we got lots to cover about that. But now we're going to be focusing on another draft, which is the NBA. But before that, why don't we go first with the game of tonight, which the Boston Celtics made a statement without Jason Tatum that they are not giving up. Without him, they blew out the Knicks in the second half, because the first half, it was actually very tight. They took control in the third, and then annihilated in the fourth, winning 127-102. So the real question is, what's the most probable outcome of Game 6 between the Celtics and the Knicks tonight at the Madison Square Garden? Matthew, I'm going to give you the first word.
I want to say that it is going to be a tough battle because it is going to be in Madison Square Garden, and a lot of Knicks fans are going to be hyped up for that one, as well as some Celtics fans in the building. So it's going to be a lot of mixed emotions, but the competitive spirit is still there with both teams. So it's definitely going to be a tough battle for both teams. But may the best team win at this point.
Nick, since you're next to him, you go.
Well, I think the most probable outcome for tonight is a Knicks victory. But personally, I want to see the Finals MVP, JB number 7. I want to see him ball out tonight, and I want to see them take down New York. I want to see the Celtics come back, and I want them to tear out the hearts of New York Knicks fans.
Yeah, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Matthew McNamara for getting the lottery. I guess we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Matthew.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, so for this outcome, if the Celtics win tonight, they're winning the series, plain and simple. So the Knicks this is a must-win game for the Knicks. Okay. So the most probable outcome, I think, because they're at home, I would say the Knicks. But as Nick just mentioned, the Finals MVP, the man on the screen, Jaylen Brown, has to step up, and he has to play well, just like he did in game number 5.
I mean, we've seen the Celtics been down 0-3 and then forcing a Game 7 at the TD Garden. And obviously, Tatum's injury was a big factor, but I still think that the Heat would have still won that series on the road. I'm saying it could have been a difference. It changed the momentum. I understand that. Injuries happen in sports. It sucks. But I still think that with Butler's mindset, Adebayo, Caleb Martin, and the rest of the crew, it could have been a tight game or a blowout like the Heat did. They still would have won that series just like they did. What I'm trying to say here is that bringing it back to the TD Garden, yeah, obviously in front of the fans, we've seen this team lose a game 7 at their home court.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be and without their superstar, which at the same time he's given credit lots of times because he's appeared when they most needed him. Game 6 against the Bucks in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. A year after the Bucks won the NBA championship, the Bucks without Chris Middleton, they were one game away on making it into the Eastern Conference against the Miami Heat. We gave lots of credit for Mike Budenholzer, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, etc. They were one game away. They screwed up in Game 6 at their home court, but it was because Tatum stole their hearts by scoring 47 points in that game, forcing a Game 7, and then the Celtics dominated. We've seen Jason Tatum at the same time in the first 3 quarters against the Sixers in 2024, if I'm not in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, in the second round, having a bad, horrible shooting percentage, and all of a sudden he's hot in the fourth quarter in Game 6, scoring 15 points to lead the Celtics to a Game 7, and then Game 7 after Stephen Curry broke the record with 50 points against the Sacramento Kings. That same postseason, all of a sudden he scores 1 point more than him. So that's where we've been focusing on Jason Tatum because he's supposed to be the face of the franchise. He became the first Celtic player to score 30 points on a season. Larry Bird didn't do it. Robert Parrish didn't do it. Bill Russell, Kevin McHale, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, you name John Havlicek, you name all the Celtics legends. What I'm trying to say is, when it's playoff, Jaylen Brown has actually been the most consistent, the most efficient, and the reason why he won the Eastern Conference MVP and the Finals MVP because he was more efficient. Tatum had his games, but right, so you're gonna have a big game, and then the next game you're gonna be taking a day off. No, Brown has always been producing offensively and defensively, and that's why it's weird when you are the face of the franchise and you're not the one that they're gonna depend on in the biggest stages. Like, can somebody make that any reasonable? Can somebody answer how is that possible? When and also he's getting paid more than any player in the league.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown broke the record before him. 5 years, $304 million, and he proved last season why he deserved every single check coming to him every single week. There were some weeks that you said, Tatum, like, with all the respect, you don't even deserve this check. And so what I'm trying to say is that now this is Jaylen Brown's time, just like he did in this game. You know a difference that I saw? Mostly with Tatum. I'm not trying to say that without Tatum they're a better team, because that would be disrespecting him. Without Tatum, they have no chance on winning a championship. They have no chance on winning this series. So that's how much I'm respecting him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you saw Jaylen Brown all of a sudden not taking certain shots that you say like, damn, he would have taken that shot. What happened? Pump fake, driving the paint. If he's open, he'll get an N1 or he'll get a dunk or a layup or distribute the ball. 12 assists. When have you seen Jaylen Brown with scoring more than 20 points per game? To be exact, he wasn't the leading scorer. He could have been the leading scorer. 26 points and 12 assists. That's Celtics basketball. That's what we've been seeing. That's how their offense operate. They cannot depend that much in the three-point line. They went 22 for 49. That's perfect for 52%. But then when you average 25 to 30 assists per game, that's what the Celtics have been doing since Ime Udoka fixed the offensive situation. Joe Mazzulla took control the rest of it. And then this game, proves that's exactly what they have to do. Move the ball. Make the Knicks think twice, 3 times of whichever move that they're going to make. So that's what makes them dangerous with or without Jason Tatum. But when they have a big lead and then they start pressing the panic bottom and then they start playing isolation and then Joe Masula doesn't know what to do, that's when things get worrisome for them.
I just feel like the team loses focus at that point. I feel like the team itself is just super comfortable with their lead at that point, and just really, from the way that we see them at least, they just don't care. Like when they're up by 20, like, yeah, they want to hold that lead, but the players just look like they don't care half the time. Like Jaylen Brown, you see him making plays, Peyton Pritchard's making plays, but they're turning over the ball and they're just making they just have bad possessions. But when they're in close games, though, they're gonna fight, man. They're gonna fight. Like Luke Cornett, we saw Luke Cornett last game too. Luke Cornett came in, stepped up, had like what 6 blocks, 8 blocks,
7,
like
yeah,
7 blocks. Thank you, man. He was ridiculous for them, and I've been saying it since I think it was the first or second episode. They need to start Cornett over Porzingis right now because Porzingis has not been a factor for that team, and he's gonna continue not being a factor with Tatum out. Jaylen Brown right now is their sole savior for that team, and I think he can carry them to the promised land.
And Nick, to your point, they started Cornett in the second half of that game, of the last game, and they benched Porzingis. Porzingis didn't play at all in the second half.
Yeah,
and they were able to maintain that lead and win the game. So
he just provides
I agree. I think
aspect.
that's a big.
He just has a very good defensive aspect to his game. Like he's a tall guy who can shot block and rebound, and at that point, that's all you really need because you have all your other scorers already.
Definitely. And basically the X factors, I mean, obviously the most valuable players were Derek White, 34 points. He's got 2 straight games scoring over 6, making over 6 triples. And this game, 7 for 13, that's amazing. Also 9 for 11 in the free throw line, 9 for 16 in general. Jaylen Brown, what we haven't seen for a while. I'm just trying to say for a while. Almost a triple-double. 26 points, 8 rebounds, but 12 assists. He was making better decisions, smarter decisions. This is not a good shot for me. Let me go to plan B. Let me drive the paint. All right, I can't score here either. Let me distribute the ball to Luke Cornett or to Drew Holiday or to whoever is driving down the lane. But at the same time, in order for them to force a Game 7, you're seeing it right now. Peyton Pritchard, what did he do? 6th man of the year. He's been consistently proving why he deserves 6th man of the year. Some 6-man players in the playoffs, they choke.
Yeah.
They don't look like it. The pressure is on them. And Peyton Pritchard, this game, 17 points. But then, the X factor, the most surprising player, the guy you're watching right now on the screen, Luke Cornett, has actually been a center that even the Knicks would say, can I trade you Mitchell Robinson for him? Can I give you Mitchell Robinson for him? Can y'all bring Luke Cornett towards us? Because right now, he's doing what we expecting Mitchell Robinson to do. 7 blocks, 5 for 5 shooting, 10 points, almost a double-double with 9 rebounds. Like, when you see this type of Celtics team, obviously, role players and second unit players play better at their home court. But they can continue this momentum because right now the Knicks are under pressure. They're at their home court. They haven't made it to the Eastern Conference Finals since 1999. I was 5 years old. Corlia, what age you were?
I wasn't even born yet.
You weren't even born yet. Nick. No.
Wasn't even born.
Matthew.
I wasn't born yet. I was born yet.
Jesus. Are you hearing this, guys? They weren't even born yet since the last time the Knicks made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were 1 game away last year. This case, injuries, had a main factor on it. But if they blow this, I don't even know what to talk about the Knicks anymore.
Listen, if they blow this, this is a Miami Heat's dream. This is their dream. This is a Heat fan's dream, bro. You're telling me that the 2 franchises that we hate the most are going up against each other, going to a Game 7? possibly you see a team up 3-1 blow that lead. Oh,
And,
less,
and-
bro.
and right now, whichever makes it, Indiana is actually, in my opinion, the favorites.
I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, I would say so. I agree.
I
Yeah.
will feel like the Pacers, if they stay healthy, they got more depth. They got better defensively, which they were horrible last season.
Yeah.
But the reason why they made it so far, injuries had something to do with the teams that they faced, like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Knicks at the end of the series. But have we forgotten that they were ranked number 1 offensively in point score and efficiency? This year they were ranked number 8 in point scoring, but still top 10 in efficiency. And last year they had 8 players averaging double-digit points. They're just one short this season. They had 7 players, and Benedict Mathurin wasn't playing the postseason last year.
Yeah, he's the
is.
X factor.
He is an X factor. Thank you, Kolia.
Well, I think the biggest piece for the Independent Pacers has to be Pascal Siakam. I think Pascal Siakam is pretty underrated in my opinion. You're talking about a guy that's already won a championship with Toronto, bringing that veteran experience. Like, and we saw it last year. You know, last year he didn't have his moment and he hadn't shined yet. But they're coming back this year, and they're coming out for blood, regardless of what team that is.
No, I remember that as Pascal Siakam. I mean, he was. Let's just say that even with Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry, he was an important piece. Even though Fred VanVleet for me was an X factor coming off the bench.
Of course.
That's why he got paid afterwards with Toronto and then got paid with the Houston Rockets. But Pascal Siakam knows what the sacrifice that they have to do in order to make it that far to the. And these are 2 straight years they're making it Eastern Conference Finals, and this year Indiana, in my opinion, is better, especially with Benedict Mathurin, just like you said. Kolia being an X factor for them coming off the bench, and then and if he's having a bad game, all right, TJ McConnell, we need you to take over. All right, at the same time, you also have impressively Obi Toppin. I was gonna say him, but at the same time, Thomas Bryant, whenever he gets minutes, he's actually producing, and he's a champion as well with the Denver Nuggets. Even though he didn't have minutes against the Miami Heat, but at the same time, when Rick Carlisle gives him the chance to prove himself, he's actually delivering for the Indiana Pacers. Just like last game off the bench, he balled.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, if the Knicks lose this 3-1, what does this say about Tom Thibodeau? Right? They went all in and built this roster. They traded a ton of picks for Mikal Bridges. They made a move to get Towns. A great starting roster. They play all of these guys, all of these minutes. They win, 48 games or however many they won. What does this say about Tom Thibodeau?
Man, for real, I think he's gonna be in the hot seat.
He's got to be. When you have this roster and you can't produce and you blow a 3-1 lead to a team that's missing their best player, there's got to be something going on.
Especially, go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was gonna say, when you have the Batman villain, the Penguin, as your head coach, who's forcing you to play every single minute on the floor, who doesn't give his starters a break, something's got to be changed if they don't win this series. Because Tom Thibodeau in the past has proven that he cannot get over the hump, even with the Chicago teams. And now we're seeing it here with these New York teams.
Come on, man. Let's be honest. Do you believe he was that big of a head coach? I don't even think, let's just say, handling a Bulls team. Phil Jackson. Let's put Phil Jackson with that Chicago Bulls team. You think that they were going to surpass LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh?
Well,
No.
No.
Come on, man.
But I definitely will say it. But I definitely will say the coaching would have been better. I definitely will say the coaching would have been better, and we probably wouldn't have seen Derrick Rose tear his ACL.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. In the first game against the Sixers in the 2012 NBA playoffs, because the game was already over, and he still let him they were trying to blow them out.
Basically,
necessary.
That's the philosophy, though.
I mean, nah, that was I appreciate you saying that because that was very stupid from him, and
Yeah.
he's gotten criticized about that. And what is scary is that the reason that he could be in the hot seat not only because of that, because you got the only player right now active in the NBA that hasn't missed a single one,
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges,
Yeah,
and
Mikal Bridges.
he even threw Tom Thibodeau under the bus, saying that he's giving him too many minutes and the rest of the roster. Like, because remember, when you give them, it's not about them getting tired or only. I'm not gonna say it's about them probably getting injured. The
Yeah.
percentage it gets even bigger towards that. And that's why, and we already saw, like, that was a big point that you just
Yeah.
mentioned about Derrick Rose getting injured when the team was blowing the Sixers out. They were about to win that game.
Well, I would also like to make another comparison for Mikal Bridges. Back on that same Chicago team, Luol Deng was having problems with Tom Thibodeau. Very similar player to Mikal Bridges. And Tom Thibodeau was forcing him to play minutes and just would not give him a break. And, like Tom Thibodeau used him as like the glue guy. That was Luol Deng's role.
Yeah.
He was the glue guy.
Mhm.
But Luol Deng, even in the locker room and talking to the media, he would even say there was a lot of criticism and there was just a lot of disagreements between the both of them. So
Yes.
I hope we don't see it between this team and the Chicago team because I would love to see Tom Thibodeau actually learn, but it's not going to happen.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Look at the stats. Just little by little, be wrapping up this topic. So game one, that they came back. The starters scored 94 points of the Knicks. The bench scored 14. So we go to game two. The starters score 80. The bench 11. So that's 25 points combined from the bench in the first two games. The third game that they lost, the bench scored 21 points. So that's how many? 66 in 3 games, while the
Yeah.
starters scored 72. Then you got game four, which the bench scores 19. That's now 85. And the starters score 94. So you got 4 games with a 3-1 series lead before last game, which the bench combines with 85 points, and the starter still beats them in game four.
Yeah.
111 points.
It's wild, man.
111. I'm mistaken. It was 10 points. So it's 76 in 4 games from the bench, and the starters beat them in game four in one singular game, 111 to 76 that the bench has in 4 games before game five.
That's
I'm,
insane.
no, it's wild, man. But you have to look at New York's team as well, because like they're only playing their starters. They're really running 7 guys on the court, and the
Maverick
2 guys that are
and
coming
Mitchell
off the
Robinson.
bench haven't even been providing that much, except Mitchell Robinson. Defensively, Mitchell Robinson has been incredible.
Miles
But-
McBride, exceptionally. Last game he provided.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah,
but
Deuce
still,
was
they
good
still,
last
but they
game.
still
Yeah,
lost.
but
They
still,
still lost.
but Deuce McBride the entire playoffs though hasn't been shooting the ball great. Like he's been facilitating, but he cannot score, and he's too small of a defender to step up on people.
There's something that is really interesting from that because when we saw the Knicks roster, I said, man, they got the best starting lineup, in my opinion. In my opinion, they got the best starting lineup. I mean, they got 2 great wing defenders, which are two-way players. OG Anunoby looked like a star in Toronto. Mikal Bridges looked like a star in Brooklyn. You got Jalen Brunson, which is the face of the franchise, a superstar. You got Karl Anthony Towns, which used to be a face of a franchise. And he gets elected to All-Star with a new uniform in his first year. And then you got also Josh Hart, which he's basically like a silent assassin
Yeah.
that produces in points, rebounds, steals. Like right now, that's like an all-star starter. Even like a team USA FIBA, not Olympics. So I don't so Kolia doesn't trip right now, or you,
Yeah.
Nick, or Matthew. Like a FIBA type of USA starter. And right now in the playoffs, in my opinion, the rest of the teams, like Indiana right now, they got more depth, but they don't got a better starting 5 than the Knicks. the Boston Celtics, even with Tatum, they don't got a better five with them because you've seen Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Come on, man. You're not going to compare them to what they have. And then you got the West, Minnesota Timberwolves, good team. They don't got a better five than the Knicks. Now you're waiting against Oklahoma and Denver. Both of them don't even got a better five than the Knicks. But now, for us to say they're gonna have to rely on them the whole rest of the playoffs, I mean, like I say, percentage gets even bigger with injuries, and they're also gonna get tired in the last moments when some of them has to execute either offensively or defensively. That's the only thing that worries me about the Knicks. Other than that, like right now, they prove themselves that hey, that's all we need. Right now we're proving to everybody that our starting five can go against the world, and we've seen that before with the Denver Nuggets as well. Not the year that they won, because Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and Christian Braun, they
were huge
were
contributors.
they contributors. But then last year they were one game away with no depth, make it to the Western Conference Finals, and they could have beaten Dallas Mavericks in that series and make it to the finals and match up with the Celtics. And now you're seeing them against a fresher, young team, better defensive, one game away from making it to Western Conference Finals. So a team that has actually proven to me that a starting five, if they don't get injured, they can make it all the way, is the Denver Nuggets. And now the Knicks are the Nuggets in the West, in my opinion. Like not as dominant as Nikola Jokic. They don't got that obviously. Right. But Jalen, but now they got a miniature Nikola Jokic, because Jalen Brunson, like he's clutch player of the year, and in the playoffs when they need him most, he's been there. And look at his stats. Right now, he's the most valuable Eastern Conference player throughout this playoffs.
Yep.
So it's crazy. Right now, it's up in the air. Like if I ask you three right now, who's the favorite? If the Knicks go Knicks or Pacers, right now I need a weekend to think who I'm gonna
it would take a long time to pick.
I personally want to say the Pacers.
Why?
Well, they have the experience, and like I said, they're out for blood, man. They want that finals appearance.
So the Knicks don't have the experience. The Knicks haven't gone to playoffs all decade.
Whoa! Have they made an Eastern Conference Finals? Have they made an Eastern Conference Finals?
Is injury an X factor? They could have made it if Jalen Brunson wouldn't got injured in Game 7. If Josh Hart wasn't, he wasn't even 80%. They lost Mitchell Robinson. They didn't have Julius Randle, and they still were one game away to making it against the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they didn't have by that time either Mikal Bridges or Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, but still, they haven't made an Eastern Conference Finals.
No, but Bridges and
since 1999, no.
There it is.
Playoff runs. They have deep playoff runs, So I think that could help the Knicks in the series against the Pacers. But let's move on to.
I mean, to end this topic,
Denver and OKC before this gets.
To end this topic, I mean, if the Pacers beat a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers that have more depth than the Knicks, I would agree the Pacers right now look like the favorites, but the Knicks, like I said, they look like the Denver Nuggets. They only rely on their starting five. They got a coach that has a past history in the playoffs. Obviously, he hasn't taken them to the promised land, but the Knicks, right now, that they look scary with that starting five. But the outcome of tonight, I'm going to say Knicks finish it at the Madison Square Garden. Nick?
I want to go Celtics, baby.
Kolia?
I'm going to say the Celtics because they're better on the road.
Jesus. Matthew?
Knicks.
All right, so it's
All right.
Anthony, are you there? Anthony, are you there? No, he's in the Marlins watching them
lose. We got to call him.
He's at the Marlins game watching them lose. All right, so next topic. Let's go to the next topic, which right now we are – well, who works tomorrow at the Kaseya Center?
Not me.
This gentleman right here. Oh, hell yeah, Matthew. High five.
So Kolia is the only one right now lucky to watch Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I will be tuning in.
So basically, the veteran Nuggets with more experience force a Game 7 against the young Thundercats. Right now, who has a higher percentage of winning the series. Golia, the floor is yours.
Oh, I'm gonna say Denver. I think Denver has the higher percentage to win this series. I think Jokic in a game 7 is, you cannot count that man out. He's the best player in the world. Like I'm like Aaron. I think Aaron Gordon's gonna step up. Jamal Murray. Denver won for a reason back in 2023
Mm-hmm.
because they are damn good in high pressure games. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets.
All right, Nick.
I mean, I feel like the safe pick is the Nuggets. If we're talking about percentage and who has the best chance, I'm gonna go Denver just because of their experience. And honestly, OKC's big three between J Dub, Chet, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander have been relatively inconsistent all at the same time. It's either you get J Dub really good and Chet really good, and then Shea plays bad, or it's Shea good, Chet good, and then J Dub bad. It's never like all three of them are going to step up. Defensively, yes, J Dub, especially last game, had a great game. But offensively, dude, he couldn't hit a bucket for anything. So I want to say Denver because, like backing up like Kolia said, Jokic is the best player in the world. And, he
Yeah.
didn't even have a triple double last game, which is like crazy to think about. That's the standard
Yeah,
for
that's
his
not normal. That's
greatness.
not normal for him. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. But like still, the dude had 29 and 14 and 8. Like we're looking at that as like, oh, he didn't even try and they still won. So, but
Yeah.
I'm still gonna go with Denver.
Matthew.
I definitely think Denver Nuggets will force a game 7 against OKC. Denver, they are super. They have a super complete roster. Nikola Jokic, obviously, he's just like obviously the best player in the world, as you guys mentioned. With his assist, his rebounding, his facilitating, and then you have other main contributors like Jamal Murray, who's been tearing it up on the floor. Aaron Gordon has been phenomenal on the boards with his dunks and his blocks. Russell Westbrook, who's just a pest on defense, and then you got Peyton Watson too, and Christian Braun, who's really good on defense. So I think Denver has a good chance of closing out this series.
What about you, Raul? Are you gonna go against all three of us?
Against it's me against the world. It's me
You're taking
against the
OKC,
world.
okay.
I'm taking OKC. All right, so I got certain points about this. So this series could have actually gone like 4-2 with the Thunder. The Thunder have been like the Celtics blowing big leads. We saw it in game 1. They were actually up by 12 points, 4 minutes remaining at their home court. They blew that. And then they went to overtime. And then Aaron Gordon had to have an amazing, heroic moment for them. In this case, it was a 3-point shot. The game that we saw in my apartment against the Clippers
Yeah.
was let's just call that a
That,
putback
that
or
was a that was
a, a,
nightmare.
a putback or an alley oop. I don't know what it was, but
Definitely
it
that
was
one.
a 50-50. People said that the ball was still in his hands, which I agree. Others said that the ball was out of his hands. I mean, it's still difficult. That also changed the outcome of that series for the Clippers and the momentum. In this case, with that triple, that gave the Nuggets lots of motivation, knowing that even with the issues that they have during the regular season with their head coach, general manager, which is surprising at the end of the season. Like we were doubting them about like their mentality, and at the same time it could be a distraction. Who was going to be the voice of the team, which we know even with Michael Malone, which he's a great coach. I'm still disagreeing that they should have fired him, but we don't know what happened, what I'm saying, inside the locker rooms. We have to be, how do you say, we gotta be working for this big companies in order to like be reporting those stuff and be sources. But at the same time, I still believe that it was crazy that they fired Michael Malone. Like these coaches nowadays, they're not saying we're gonna leave that for another day, that topic. But seeing the Denver Nuggets, like I saw them, like even with the Clippers, I put the Clippers to winning that series.
Yeah,
They forced a
same.
Yeah.
game 7. They silence a lot of critics, but at the same time, every time in the playoffs we're gonna see controversy, foul plays or no fouls, buzzer beaters, and offensive fouls or turnovers, etc. And in my opinion, watching the Denver Nuggets against the Clippers, watching them against OKC, like last Friday, at the same time, the Thunder had that game basically in their grasp, and they lost it. They went to overtime. Two straight, I mean, not two straight games, sorry, because they blew them out for 149-106 in game two. They took care of business. But game one, game three, that could have been a different outcome. The Thunder had it. They lost it. The same thing we're talking about the Celtics with the New York Knicks. Then game four, I got to talk about this one because, wow. Game four. Wow. Was that the worst playoff game
That was
between
horrible.
two contending teams we've ever seen historically? And the reason the Thunder won is because of what they basically proven to be an elite defense. Number one efficiency. Top 10 in points allowed. Number one in forcing turnovers. Number one in 3-point percentage defending and percentage shooting at the same time in other categories. Like that's basically has been their identity this season, and so they proved it in Game 4, winning 92-87. That looked like basically, I don't want to say 80s and 90s basketball
Well,
defense.
you wouldn't be wrong saying
It
that. 'Cause I
was.
was thinking
Yeah,
it.
it was.
I mean, it was, but at the same time, bro, there were so many open shots by
I
both
know.
teams
Yeah.
that they missed. And so the Nuggets, 31% shooting in that game. 11 out of 45 in the 3-point line. Let's mix it up with the OKC. OKC had a 35% shooting.
Terrible.
10 for 41 shooting. So if you mix both of them from the 3-point line, let's just call it 3-point line, because in shooting percentage, Matthew, if you can help us out, 35.6 with 31.1 divided by 2, how much is that? Like 32%, something like that? 30 something, 33, 34. Now, in 3-pointing combined, guys, both teams were so trash that they combined 86 missed 3 points, 21 made. 22 out of 86. So obviously that game was based on defense. And that's what I'm going to rely on, what I'm trying to say on tomorrow's game. Defense is the only way that's going to get the Thunders to win this game.
I'm surprised that you picked the Thunder, to be honest with you, because the Thunder have a more deep bench than the Nuggets do. So I'm surprised that you went
younger.
I'm surprised that you went with the Knicks with no bench, and then you go the Thunder with a bigger bench. So that's
because the reason I'm going with the Knicks is because they're out without their superstar. That would have been a different outcome. That would have been a different outcome. If Jason Tatum is, we've seen them did it to us.
Yeah.
3-0 lead, and we almost became the first team in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead in the playoffs. The reason why I'm going with the Knicks is because Tatum is not in the roster. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm saying the Celtics are going to give them all they have just to prove a point.
For sure.
Like they're grinding, they're dogs, this and that. But in this case, the Thunders are younger. In my opinion, they had experience of losing against the Dallas Mavericks in the second round, especially what was the reason why they lost a couple of those games? Clutch moments, nobody appeared. Nobody, not even Shea, not even Chet, not even Jalen, nobody appeared. And they didn't have two veterans, mentors like Alex Caruso, who's a champion, and Isaiah Hardestein, which was one game away making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's been in the playoffs before. That's what every single team needs. The Rockets need it, the Thunder need it, the Spurs need it now, and they're getting it. And other teams like Minnesota, the Memphis Grizzlies, which they disappointed, the Sacramento Kings as well. Yeah. I'm giving this team because they got a better defense, and it's at their home court. And
That's
I and
true.
I and at the same time, one more thing just to end it. I mean, just to end my side of this topic is that Aaron Gordon side hamstring. You never know if
That's
he's
true. Yeah.
not 100% healthy for
Yeah.
Game 7. That's worrisome for the Nuggets because that now you're gonna see Nikola Jokic like Game 5, and like you saw this season, scoring over 40 points, 50 points with a triple double,
It
and
ain't
he
gonna
was
matter.
0 and 6 this season. The Nuggets were 0 and 6 when Nikola Jokic scored over 40, 50, 60 points, and including a triple double. And what happened in Game 5? 44 points.
Yeah. And they
44
lost.
points, and they lost the game. 44 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and they still lost.
Yeah. I will say this though, to your point, Raul, the role players play better at home. Like all like for
There you
every
go.
team. So that is a big factor, I think, benefactor for the Thunder is that they have the role players like Caruso and Dort and Isaiah Joe and players like that. They can
Jason
really step
Wallace.
up with that home crowd. Kind of like how the Celtics did with like Luke Cornett and all of these,
Yep.
And House of Sweet.
yeah. By the
Yeah,
way, the game is on Sunday, not tomorrow.
Oh, it was on Sunday?
Yeah, it is on
Oh, my
Sunday.
bad, my bad. Well, you
Yeah,
know what? That's a blessing. Nick, Matthew, that's a blessing. So, Colia, I know that you were motivated for that
I
game.
know, I know.
The-
By
And
the
it's
way,
a
I texted Anthony and I said, "Who's winning tonight? The Knicks or the Celtics?" And he said, "The Knicks. The champs go down tonight."
I mean, that's because he hates the Celtics.
That's true.
That's because I mean he could give you he could analyze the game or one of that, but he's still gonna pick the Knicks
Yeah,
because he hates the
that's
Celtics.
per source too. I got that per source.
Yeah, tell him that we need a little bit more sources, especially for the next topic, which is actually what surprised the whole world. The Dallas Mavericks. Matthew,
Yeah,
round of applause for this dude.
let's go.
You got it, man. You got it. I mean, we weren't
You
against
got the
it.
script
We just
ready?
Yeah, really.
we weren't against it. We were just like, I mean, Matthew, how are they gonna get the number one pick? Like
You
I mean,
never know.
they're gonna get a lottery pick, but against Charlotte, Washington, Utah, how is it possible that that's gonna get the number one pick? This thing I was about to curse. This thing is politics. This thing is politics. This thing is beyond us.
Is it
Most
rigged?
definitely, it was too obvious. Nico Harrison right now he's laughing. Everybody now is looking at differently of that trade that happened because you seeing the Lakers, kumbaya, everything's going good with Doncic. They got better defense. Surprisingly, because Doncic is not a defender, but I'm actually gonna say he got better, just not still like an elite defender. But when you see our progress with some players, you gotta give him like credit for that. But he was still arguing with the refs and his condition and all that. He could be in any condition he wants. He's still better than 95% of the players in this league.
Yeah.
Now and the upcoming and whoever's coming in the next years, like Doncic is a franchise player, but then there are some things that you're gonna say that all right, so he has his ups and downs. He has
He's
his
fat.
pros and his cons. And apparently Nico Harrison and the rest of the staff were seeing something in the writing on the wall that we were not seeing. And so apparently they were like, all right, Nico, you're gonna suffer for a couple of months because everybody's gonna hate your guts, but this is the right move for the future. And so right now, I mean, yeah, right now we're jumping to conclusions too quick. I mean, at least me, I'm gonna admit it. I mean, too many conspiracy I'm about to create right now. But at the same time, like the Lakers lost their first round. LeBron is probably gonna be one more year. And then whatever happens with the Lakers next season, especially with roster construction, I mean, Luca may not sign an extension with them. He's always wanted to link up with Nikola Jokic or go to another big marketing team since now he's not going to be with the Dallas Mavericks, this and that. And so the Mavericks didn't make the playoffs, and now you see them with the number one pick. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is the favorite to be land. And
Mm-hmm.
then you see Kyrie Irving. He's probably gonna be back by December, January. Anthony Davis. He's hyped up about that. They're probably gonna stay with the same core with Daniel Gafford, which probably they're gonna be shopping. A lot of teams are interesting, like the Lakers. PJ
Yeah.
Washington, Derek Lively is still on that rookie contract, and then Max Christie. They gave him the minutes, and he was balling. And then the rest of the roster, they're probably gonna move Spencer Dinwiddie, Dante Exum, and a couple of others, and maybe sign a couple of silent like shooters. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like I
Yeah.
believe in Nico Harrison right now and Jason Kidd and the rest to like make big moves other than possibly the number one pick. So with all been said, what does this mean for the Mavericks? Matthew, I'm gonna give you the first word since you were the winner.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a huge, huge move for the Mavericks, just because you have Cooper Flag that can really impact the game in a lot of different ways. I mean, I'll start with he can run the offense for pick and rolls. He can shoot the ball well, even if it's like at a mid range or whether he can shoot threes. He plays very solid defense. He can get steals. He can get blocks and he can dunk the ball like no other. Man. And he's done that throughout his time at Duke, in which he won both ACC Player and Freshman of the Year awards. I mean, the
Yep.
sky's the limit for him. He's a pure hooper, and that's the reason why he's definitely going to be successful with Dallas going forward.
Matthew, before Nick, Kolia, so since you predicted this with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, do you feel like basically, I know that Luca's not there, but he's basically like the biggest replacement, almost successor, possibly face of that franchise?
I wouldn't say face of the franchise just yet. Definitely try to build that team chemistry with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, along with the other guys that they have on the roster, Max Christie, so that way he can get comfortable to really space the floor with those guys. Because we've all seen Kyrie Irving as a ball handler, Anthony Davis, he's good at the center position with Cooper Flag as the forward position, it can definitely space your entire roster, and you can really you have a lot of room to work with.
Nick?
Well, I want to say I was one of the crazy people that said that this trade was a win-win for both sides, and it's showing now long term that it's the right move. Like look at what they
Yeah.
got. They got another defensive player to their team of the theme defense. That's what
Yep.
Nico Harrison was looking for.
Yep.
Because yes, Cooper Flag can score the ball. Who cares? You have Kyrie Irving who can score. You have AD who can score. You have Najee Marshall off the bench who
Facts.
can come and score.
Facts.
You have plenty of guys that can come in and facilitate for your team. Adding Cooper Flag is a blessing, bro. It's insane. I'm very excited for their future. But as a whole, I think they're going to be a playoff contender next year. I know it's very early. If they make the right trades this offseason and they sign the right pieces, I think they can be a very big contender next year. Because at the end of this season, if AD and Kyrie stayed healthy, I had them going to the finals this year.
Me too. I mean, I had them
Yeah.
going to the finals this year. If they would have still healthy and they wouldn't trade Luca, I would have seen them. Oh,
I had that too.
guys! At the same time, Kolia, the floor is yours. But we've just disrespected Clay Thompson since we didn't even mention
I
him.
was gonna mention him. I was gonna bring him up.
Kolia, I'm sorry to
You
steal your
good?
thunder.
You
My
good.
bad. My bad. Kolia.
Yeah. So I mean, Nico Harrison. Look, this is his philosophy. He wants players that are similar mindset to Kobe Bryant, right? Players that play well on both the offensive and defensive side. That's why they went out and got Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's a great shooter, and he's known for his shooting, but he's also a great defender. And that was one of the reasons that I think that Nico Harrison and Dallas fell in love with him in the first place and wanted to sign him was because of that defense, and that veteran leadership and everything like that. So But Cooper Flagg, he's just another piece there. I think he's going to be an awesome fit. He's going to be probably the starting 3, I would guess. But I mean, here's the thing. Who's to say that they don't get Cooper Flagg? Who's to say that let's say maybe they make a deal for Giannis, right? Or maybe they take one of the Rutgers. Maybe they take the Rutgers point guard.
You have to be psychotic.
But where does Giannis fit in there?
Kyrie, I will say this. Kyrie is injured until like December or January. Who's to say that they don't get the Rutgers point guard, right? At number 1. Kyrie is old. He's 35 years old. So Cooper Flagg would be awesome.
I mean, Milwaukee,
we know that, but
Milwaukee is got all right. So you're willing to trade the number 1 pick, which is possibly, 99.9% chance that's gonna be Cooper Flagg elected.
If
rather have Giannis over Cooper.
You
rather have, but that's gonna be more sacrifices than that number 1 pick. They gotta also trade like.
It probably wouldn't work.
PJ Washington probably is gonna be in that deal. Yeah. Daniel Gafford is probably gonna be in that deal.
It would be a complicated trade for sure to pull off. So,
I mean, if I would stay with the number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg.
I actually want to piggyback off of the trade rumors. So I was reading today that the Warriors are looking to sign and trade Jonathan Kuminga this offseason. I would not be surprised if Klay Thompson would look to retire in a Warriors jersey, play with them for one more season. You trade that big contract for Kuminga, trade some picks, and you bring Kuminga into this team with Cooper Flagg.
But Kuminga, the thing is, Kuminga, who's going to be their shooting guard? They don't have a shooting guard now.
They would bring back, listen, man. You have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and
Draymond Green. Mavericks.
For the Mavericks. You put Kuminga at the 2. Kuminga could fill in at the 2.
I mean,
no.
All right. So Kuminga, I'm just gonna mention to you guys that if you develop him well, because he's been in a situation with Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, that is hard to develop a player, especially Steve Kerr, who basically seems like he doesn't want to do it. Like he's sticking with his trio, and then once the era ends, he's probably gonna also call it quits. And then you saw how he hugged Draymond Green and the rest of the players. He was like, basically, it looked like he was saying goodbye or something. Maybe we're creating conspiracy with that. But at the same time, like watching Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson is out. Once Draymond Green or Stephen Curry also call it quits, I'm definitely calling it quits. I'm not trying to rebuild. Remember, he agreed to the coaching job when Mark Jackson built the Bugatti, the Ferrari, and the Lamborghini. Yeah. He only basically turned those cars on. Mark Jackson built that. He didn't do the work. He just arrived in an amazing situation.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're going to take into consideration because, I mean, how can you not win with a Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and then at the same time with Team USA, bro, they didn't even make it to the semifinals. They didn't even make it.
Well, that was in FIBA.
And that's what I'm saying, the FIBA.
Yeah.
I said the FIBA. In the Olympics, you saw the situation with Jason Tatum. He didn't know even how to manage the rotation. Thank God he had Eric Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue, and those type of coaches that are probably going to be the new head coaches of USA that know what they were doing. Steve Kerr, like, I'm sorry, a lot of people give him too many credits of what he's achieved. We can say,
I think that's a crazy thing. I think he's a good coach.
No, I feel like he's a good coach, not a great. Because, all right, Colia, just to end this segment, because we got to go with the Panthers just to get to the top of an hour. All right, so put Steve Kerr in Eric Spoelstra situation.
Oh, God.
Put Steve Kerr in Tyronn Lue's situation.
Retired.
Put him in recently San Antonio Spurs situation.
I think he could coach the Spurs.
Oh,
absolutely.
God.
He could coach the Spurs with the talent that they have. Wembanyama, Fox, and potentially Giannis.
So that worked so well with him and Chris Paul, right? I mean,
you know what?
I mean, Chris Paul was
Chris
actually
Paul was the issue.
Chris Paul was actually in a better situation with the San Antonio Spurs than he was with the Golden State Warriors. Chris Paul looked like himself much better, like old times with the Spurs than with the Golden State Warriors. Man, that's weird. That's
Chris
crazy.
Paul's a free agent
That's,
this year, so who's to say that he's coming back?
What I'm trying to say, look at the situations with these head coaches who are untouchable. Steve Kerr is untouchable because of what he's accomplished with all the greatness he's had around him. And I'm not only talking about players, I'm talking also about Bob Myers.
Yeah. I mean, Bob Myers did a great job at building that too.
So, are we agree or not that Steve Kerr gets too many credit?
No, I disagree.
Oh, come on, man. All right, we'll leave that topic for another day. But what I'm gonna disagree is on the trade. They should definitely keep the number 1 pick. Wait until Kyrie returns.
I think they will.
Wait until Kyrie arrives, and then we'll see. Because Giannis, I mean, he's 30 years old. And at the same time, he also gets injured.
Yeah, I mean, so does Kyrie. So, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Well, all right, but you got somebody that's 19 years old who averaged 19 points, the best average of a freshman by Duke. 7 points, 4 assists, 1 3-point blocks, 1.5 steals, 48%, 36% shooting. Like, you got it all with this player, and he's longevity. Giannis is probably going to be in the league like next 5 to 7 years. I know it's I know it's a win now situation, but come on, man. Like, if you did all this could actually be like the future. It was Nowitzki, it was Doncic, and now we got a Cooper Flagg.
You also got
it's going to be a
marketing standpoint too for Dallas. It's just going to make more sense to bring in Cooper Flagg and bring in those jersey sales as well. It makes more sense because long term they're just going to make a cash grab off of those sales. You kidding me? You're telling me if Cooper Flagg came to the Heat, which that should have been our pick, by the way, and I also want to say that could have been Chicago's pick too, because Chicago and Dallas they lost a coin flip. So it could be scripted.
Imagine losing a generational prospect on a coin flip.
I just want to very quickly finish by saying,
yeah, of course.
That jersey sale though, it just makes sense to keep Cooper Flagg on the team. I don't.
It's gonna be Flagg. You just gotta consider all the possibilities.
To end this episode on a good note, Florida team that actually makes us proud right now. Makes us proud right now are the Florida Panthers, which they stormed back 0-2, which one of those games they should have won. Let's just call it how it is. They should have won at least game 2. Game 2, they should have won game 2. But right now, all right, so that's the past. Florida Panthers stormed back in this series against the Toronto Maple Leafs and are 1 game away from making it to the conference finals for his 3rd straight year, which is tonight. So, Nick, the floor is all yours.
Listen, Raul, I've been waiting multiple episodes to talk about my Cats. And when they went down 2-0 in the series, I still believed in them. You know why?
I mean, you looked a little depressed.
Listen.
In the Casella Center.
A little depressed. But I still had hope. Listen, the way this team works is that they were going to go slow. And everyone could tell at the beginning of a series, they don't really look the same. They kind of go slow. But, dude, these guys are on it now.
It's like a boxing ring. When you got the favorite, they're analyzing their opponents. Their opponents is like throwing a lot of jabs.
No, exactly.
And power punches. They're throwing a lot of pump punches, but they're not connecting. It looks like they're connecting, but they're not. He's dodging him. Basically, he's making him tired. And all of a sudden, after the 6th round, all right, I studied you. Now it's my turn to attack.
The balance. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And I want to think it's crazy too, because right now the gentleman on the screen, Jesper Boquist, I want to highlight him very quickly because that man last game was incredible for the Cats. Because losing Evan Rodriguez is huge for our team, by the way. Evan Rodriguez playing that 3rd, 4th line, that's big for us. Subbing in Jesper Boquist for our first line with Alexander Barkov and Sam Reinhart. I mean, you couldn't believe it. As a Panthers fan, you look at that and you're like, whoa, what is happening? Okay, Paul, like, we trust you, but what is going on? But he comes out here with Aaron Ekblad and puts up a goal and assist. they were on fire against Toronto, and they've been on fire against Toronto. They've been putting up goals. Even in their losses, they've been putting up goals. Defensively, they've been on point. They've shut down Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner in these past few games. They've been incredible.
I mean, bro, at the same time, like I said in our group chat, Bobrovsky, for me, he's an X factor. You saw him in last year's playoffs.
Of
Like
course.
he was the MVP playing, especially in the first games against the Oilers,
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton Oilers. He was balling. Then when they were storming back, he didn't seem the same, but he was still having like his saves. The defense wasn't executing him or helping him out. But then last game, when it most mattered, he went 23 for 24
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was
in
going to
that
point
final
out,
game 7. In that final game 7, he went 23 for 24, only one goal he allowed.
he's and like you backing up your Bobrovsky being an X factor. I don't really talk about Bobrovsky because as Panther fans, we all know that guy is on one every night. Like he's incredible no matter what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out Bobrovsky held a shutout for 148 minutes, which is if I could be mistaken,
Crazy.
but it's the longest currently in the NHL playoffs this season. 148 minutes with a shutout. Unfortunately, we could have had 2 games with a shutout, but it didn't happen. But still, Bobrovsky has been an X factor. Barkov has been an X factor as per usual. Kachuk has been incredible. The Rat line has been great. I mean, it's been a show, man. And I, as a Panthers fan, I'm waiting for our back-to-back cups. And I know it sounds crazy to say, and I don't want to jinx it, but I've been saying it since last year since we beat Edmonton, man. We're going back-to-back. You can just tell from this team that we need something.
And that's actually what I wanted to piggyback on because I'm actually afraid of Connor McDavid.
Oh, actually, I'm more afraid of Leon Draisaitl this season than McDavid.
I mean, but
Yeah.
remember, this could be his first championship.
Well,
And
last
this
year
could-
could have been his first. Look what
I mean,
happened.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But this year, now they basically are on a mission to go back. Like I'm actually not afraid of the Stars or the Jets. I'm not afraid of none of those teams. Like
Hey, keep sleeping on the Stars, man. Keep sleeping on them.
Oh my God! This dude.
Listen, look what happened to the Stars last season.
Kolya,
I think
you're
the
a
Oilers
Chargers.
are going to win.
You're a Chargers fan.
I think the Oilers are
Clippers
gonna
fan,
advance.
man, like you got a mixture of. Come on, man.
I'm not a Stars fan. I'm just saying you can't count them out.
No, I agree. The Stars
I
have
agree
been on
with
fire
that.
too. But man, Stu Skinner has been just as good as Bobrovsky. If I don't want to say better because Bobrovsky has been the better goalie.
The reason why I'm already talking about either the Jets or Stars, because come on, man, there's no way we're gonna lose to the Hurricanes if we make it to the.
Well, I don't want to say. I mean, I think we're gonna. I think we're.
I would like to talk
There's
about
no
that.
way.
'Cause I
There's
think
no way. Come on, man.
when
there's
that
no way.
happens, I would like to talk about it.
Like I
Because-
still think we're gonna make the finals, but Carolina this year looks even scarier than the previous years that we faced them. They
Yeah.
look stronger. They look more They look more team oriented than last year.
Yeah.
Last year, the Panthers were able just to shut them down, and that's what we're doing right now with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mhm.
Because at the beginning of this season, the beginning of the series, everyone counted us out. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Panthers.
Facts.
McDavid's the captain. He's been balling." Sorry,
And
not
against
McDavid. Matthews is the captain.
and because of that last game of the season, they thought like the Lightning have us basically entering the playoffs, which they did in the first game, which we were a little
But
worried
the hilarious
about
thing
them.
is, we played our bench the last game of the season, and Kachuk was injured
Yeah.
in quotations, and people were like, "Oh, the Panthers are done."
Bro, and he's back. I mean, in first game back, he balled out.
Yeah, man. I
And
would
that-
also like
and
to
that's-
point out the
that's-
Panthers
yeah.
team-wise have had a franchise record of 17 Panthers scored these playoffs. That's just a franchise record. You don't see that from teams, man. Like, mind you, we beat the record this year. It was 16, and now we have 17. Like, it's insane. Everyone's contributing on this roster. Defense,
Facts.
offense, everyone.
Facts. No, at the same time, like watching that Tampa Bay Lightning series, like it was the first game. The first game was the one that basically had us worried, but then like offensively, we responded back in game 2. Bobrovsky had lots of saves in that game. Then we shot out them in game in game 2 we shot out them 2-0. Then the Lightnings responded back, which it was a little scary. Then we responded back better offensively. Then game 5, which we won the series. I mean, we were averaging basically after game 2, 4 goals or more per game.
Mhm.
And then with the Maple Leafs at the same time, like game 1, we could have won that game. Game 2, which it went to overtime, if I'm not mistaken, we lost 4-3.
No,
No,
we
it
just
was
lost
game. It was
again.
we lost the game regularly.
It was you're
Then
thinking about game 3.
game 3, that which we won 5-4. And then we shut out them in game 4, and then blew them out in game 5. So I feel like right now, like they're clicking both sides of the how do you say
Of the
The
ice.
ice.
the ice, both sides of the ice. And so I mean, right now they are the veterans. They are the ones with the experience. I mean, it's been 2 Stanley Cups. They're gonna make it possibly, if it ends tonight, to a third straight Eastern Conference. I mean, I still got them winning against Carolina, and then in the finals, I mean, yeah, Edmonton Oilers. At the same time, like Kola said, the Dallas Stars, we can't sleep on them. I still believe like the Panthers are actually a team compared to some of them that got eliminated in the first round, teams that actually disappointed in not making it to the playoffs. I feel like the biggest threat right now are the team that they beat in 7-game series last year.
I agree. I
That
agree.
and so this is a big chance for the Panthers to make it back to back. I mean, obviously we're already like visualizing, you know what I'm saying, like what they can accomplish, but at the same time we gotta give a lot of credit just to like end this segment, and then Kolia, Nick, and Matthew, you can add something just to
Yeah.
end this segment and the show. But come on, guys, Paul Morris.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to step out now. But I will say this just to, and then I'll head out. I think Brad Marchand has been key to the series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean,
The rat.
like last game was
So,
at game 4, he had like 8 points, 2 goals, and like 6 assists. So anything's possible with the Florida Panthers. But yep, that's pretty much it on my end.
Mike
all right,
drop.
Matthew.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Mic drop. All right, my man. I'll see you next week.
See you, Matthew.
Have
See
a
you.
good one. But Paul Morris, man, I mean, as a head coach, he doesn't give all the credit that he deserves.
Well,
Yeah.
he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, and now that's like solidified since he won his cup last year, and he made the cup the year before that. We didn't win it, but we made the cup. Now that we have a chance to make it 3 in a row, like it's again, like it's surreal. Like I can't even register as a Panthers fan. If you look back on our history, every single year it's bring in a new coach, fire a guy, bring in a new coach, fire a guy, because we could not make those steps. And
Morris
strides in
has been the
playoffs.
solution. Morris has
Yes,
been the
he has
solution.
brought his winning. He's brought winning culture to Florida, and that is
Yep.
the most important thing that we have.
Facts.
Because in the regular season, for us, it doesn't really matter. As long as we make it to the playoffs, then we're gonna show people, hey, we got the guys and we have the pieces to win. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And that's what
For
he
real,
is, man.
for real.
Paul knows his stuff.
Kolia?
Yeah, I will say, yeah, as people have mentioned, as you guys have mentioned, the defense with this team is unbelievable. I mean, it's not just Bobrovsky, it's the other defenders and the whole team really committed to the defensive bit. I think is the reason that they're winning this series right now. Yeah, I mean, Toronto. This is a big game for Toronto. I mean.
Which
Look,
you,
everybody's counting them out
which
right
you,
now.
which you be saying that you feel bad for them, man. I don't even know what to say.
I do feel bad. They haven't won since the 1960s. So
Bro, the Browns haven't won since the
yeah, I feel bad for the
50s.
Browns too.
Like I mean, so many teams that haven't won since the 40s, the 50s, the 60s
Yeah.
in NBA, NHL, NFL. But now against the Panthers, against a Florida team, you feel bad for the Maple Leafs. Come on, man.
I'm just saying. I want Austin Matthews to get a ring. He's one of the few players that I want to see actually get a ring. But he's on the 76ers of hockey, so it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I understand. All right, guys. Well, this was another amazing episode of Section 305. This weekend is gonna be crazy. The Yankees and Mets, all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they play. So let's see the outcome of that, the results. Knicks and Celtics. Let's see if they force a Game 7 or it ends tonight at the Madison Square Garden. We got Game 7 tomorrow between the Sunday, sorry, against the Thunder and the Nuggets. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. And also, the WNBA season, like Kolia said, begins tonight. But tomorrow are the real games. Aces against Liberty. And then Sky against Fever. So we got so many to talk next week. MLB, WNBA, NBA, and NHL, obviously. So I'll see you guys next week.
And we should do NFL because Brock Purdy just got paid a crap load of money.
Man.
You mean White Tua?
White Tua, yes.
Brock Purdy is not a bad quarterback.
No, he's not.
He's been in an amazing situation with all those players around him. Brandon Ayuk, Jaywan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, who got an extension, Christian McCaffrey when he arrived, a good offensive lineman. Then they got Kyle Shanahan, an amazing offensive, creative guy. Tell me that he didn't have all the tools, even though he was the last pick in the 2022 draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. The 2022, the 2022. He was the last pick. When you are entering the field and you got all that around, tell me you are not in the best situation that if you fail, you are not worthy to be in the NFL.
But before we end, actually, I would like to piggyback on that. I was actually at Brock Purdy's first game that he played.
Wow, that's crazy. And he balled.
Yeah, dude, he played against the Dolphins, man. We got cooked.
Man. Damn, man.
We got cooked.
Anybody can ball against the Dolphins.
Nick must have been like Selena. Nick must have been like Selena when she cried.
No, so it's funny. I remember I went with my family. My father asked me, "Yo, Nick, who's this guy number 13, Brock Purdy?" And I'm like,
I don't know.
Oh, no, because I've been scouting him. I was scouting him in college, and he was someone that I was very high on. And
he was a sleeper.
In the game, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And just like Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers, he's actually a sleeper. He could be very from Texas. He
happens.
Because definitely it's not going to be Zach Wilson. This is
hey, the male punter always has a chance.
No. Let's take with Quinn Ewers because I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but this could be season number 4 or 5 straight years. I'm talking about concussion protocols. Straight, keep the streak going. Do you believe the streak is gonna continue going? Because at what point we're gonna say, all right, we're done.
This is Tua's hockey season.
We cannot. This is basically his last opportunity. Not to play ball out. He has an amazing arm. He's accurate. Tyreek Hill, he was only wrong by saying that he was more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, or you know what I'm saying? But Tua balls out. 2 years ago they were the number 1 offensive team. Point scoring, yards passing yards, and you know what I'm saying, running and all that. Like, he has the talent, but since Alabama and with the Dolphins, is there elbow injury, concussion protocols, ribs, this and that? It's like, so this is basically his last ride.
And McDaniel.
McDaniel's also in the hot seat. I would agree with you. So Brock Purdy also is going to be a hot topic for next week. So we got lots to talk about. Sir. So, guys, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Let's get it.
See you guys.
See you, man.